A single sentence can destroy a reputation. A single word can start a war. A careless comment can reveal your fears, your intentions, and your weaknesses. History is filled with powerful men and women who lost everything because they spoke too much. And it is also filled with others who conquered kingdoms, survived revolutions, and shaped nations simply because they understood one thing: when to remain silent. The less you say, the more people wonder. The more they wonder, the more power you hold. This is law number 4. Always say less than necessary. In the courts of kings and emperors, words were never just words. They were weapons. A sentence could create an alliance. A joke could create an enemy. A rumor could destroy a family. A secret could end a life. Every conversation was a game of power. Every smile concealed an agenda. Every compliment carried a hidden purpose. People talked endlessly. They boasted about their victories. They revealed their ambitions. They explained their plans. They tried to prove how intelligent they were. And with every unnecessary word, they surrendered a piece of themselves. Because every word reveals information. What you want, what you fear, what you believe, what you plan to do next. The person who talks too much eventually becomes predictable. And the person who becomes predictable becomes vulnerable. Because if people can predict your next move, they can prepare for it. And if they can prepare for it, they can stop it. Power has always belonged to those who reveal less than they know. This lesson was mastered by one of the greatest political survivors in history, a man who lived through kings, revolutions, emperors, and the collapse of entire governments. A man who watched powerful leaders rise and then disappear. His name was Charles Maurice de Talleyrand. Born into French aristocracy, he entered one of the most dangerous political worlds ever created. The royal court of France was not simply a palace. It was a battlefield without swords. A place where whispers destroyed careers. A place where rumors became death sentences. Every noble wanted power. Every minister wanted influence. Every courtier wanted the king's attention. And everyone talked. They made promises. They revealed their ambitions. They exposed their intentions. And one by one, they became vulnerable. But Talleyrand was different. He listened more than he spoke. He observed more than he revealed. He allowed others to talk while he remained silent. And when he finally said something, people listened. Because his words were rare, and rare things are valuable. No one could fully understand him. No one could predict him. No one could discover his true intentions. Some believed he was loyal. Others believed he was dangerous. Many believed he was hiding something. And they were right. He was hiding his intentions. Because mystery creates attention, and attention creates influence. The less people understand you, the more carefully they watch you. The more carefully they watch you, the more power you seem to possess. Without an army, without enormous wealth, without raising his voice, Talleyrand built power from something almost invisible: silence. And history would soon prove just how powerful that silence could become. Then came the storm, the French Revolution, a force so powerful that it seemed capable of destroying everything in its path. Kings lost their thrones, nobles lost their fortunes. Men who once commanded armies suddenly feared for their lives. The old world was collapsing. The rules had changed. And in times like these, words become dangerous. A single opinion could make you an enemy. A careless sentence could send you to prison. A declaration of loyalty could become a death sentence only days later. The guillotine became the language of politics. The streets of Paris filled with fear. Friends betrayed friends. Allies abandoned one another. Every conversation became a risk. Every whisper carried consequences. Many of the most powerful men in France were destroyed. Some spoke out of pride. Some spoke out of anger. Some simply could not remain silent. But Talleyrand understood something different. When the world is in chaos, the person who speaks the least often survives the longest. While others rushed to declare their loyalty, he remained careful. While others made promises, he remained patient. While others explained themselves, he revealed almost nothing. He adapted, he listened, he waited, and somehow he survived. Then another ruler rose to power, a young general whose name would shake Europe, Napoleon Bonaparte. Another government, another empire, another dangerous game. Again, ambitious men surrounded themselves with words. Generals argued, politicians made speeches, ministers explained every detail of every plan. Everyone wanted to be heard. Everyone wanted to appear important. But Talleyrand remained the same, quiet, patient, difficult to read. He spoke only when necessary. He revealed only what was required. And because of that, many people underestimated him. That was their mistake. The quiet person in the room often knows more than everyone else, because while others are speaking, he is observing. While others are explaining, he is learning. While others are revealing themselves, he is collecting information. Information becomes knowledge. Knowledge becomes influence. And influence becomes power. Years passed. Empires rose. Empires collapsed. Kings returned. Governments changed. And still, Talleyrand remained. He outlived revolutions. He outlived emperors. He outlived powerful men who once seemed untouchable. How? Because silence became his shield. The less he spoke, the less others knew. The less others knew, the less power they had over him. And the less power they had over him, the more powerful he became. History had revealed one of its oldest secrets. The person who controls his words often controls his future. But this law was never limited to kings and politicians. It is a law of human nature itself. Because people are uncomfortable with silence, they rush to fill it. They rush to explain. They rush to reveal themselves. And the person who remains quiet often learns everything. The silent person gathers information. The talkative person gives information away. That difference has changed the course of history more times than we can count. And even today, it remains one of the oldest weapons of power. But history offers another example. Thousands of miles away, another man discovered the same secret. His name was Calvin Coolidge, the President of the United States. He became known by a simple nickname, Silent Cal. Reporters tried to make him talk. Politicians tried to read his intentions. His opponents tried to predict his next move. But he rarely gave them enough information. Sometimes he answered questions with a single sentence. Sometimes with only a few words. And sometimes he said nothing at all. His silence became mysterious, and that mystery became power. Because words lose value when they are abundant and gain value when they are rare. This law goes far beyond politics. Human beings cannot tolerate uncertainty. When someone says very little, our minds rush to fill the silence. We guess, we assume, we imagine, and often we imagine far more than reality. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates attention, and attention creates power. Think about the most influential people you have ever met. Many of them do not speak constantly. They listen, they pause, they choose their words carefully. Because every unnecessary word gives away information. Every explanation reveals something. Every emotional reaction exposes weakness. The person who talks too much eventually says something they regret. The person who explains too much often appears insecure. The person who constantly reveals their plans becomes predictable, and predictability is dangerous. Because if people can predict your next move, they can prepare for it. They can stop it. They can use it against you. Silence prevents that. Silence forces others to reveal themselves first. Have you ever noticed what happens during an awkward silence? People become uncomfortable. They begin talking, they explain, they defend themselves, and little by little, they reveal information they never intended to share. The silent person learns everything. The talkative person gives everything away. This is why silence has always been one of the oldest weapons of power. In negotiations, the person who speaks first often loses. In leadership, the person who says less often commands more respect. In business, the company that reveals every strategy loses its advantage. In relationships, the person who cannot control their words often loses control of the situation itself. Even today, in a world where millions reveal every thought, every plan, and every emotion online, many people surrender their power without even realizing it. Words are expensive. Silence is free. Yet most people spend words carelessly. They talk because they are nervous. They talk because they seek approval. They talk because silence makes them uncomfortable. But powerful people understand something different. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is patience. Silence is confidence. A king does not need to announce his power. An emperor does not need to explain himself. And a master strategist never reveals every card in his hand. This does not mean you should never speak. It means that every word should have a purpose. Every sentence should matter. Every idea should be delivered with intention. Because the fewer words you use, the more weight those words carry. History has repeated this lesson again and again. Empires have risen because of restraint. Careers have been destroyed by careless words. Friendships have ended because people said too much. Wars have begun because someone could not remain silent. And even today, the law remains unchanged. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. The most powerful person is often the one who speaks the least. Because when people cannot fully understand you, they cannot fully control you. And when they cannot predict your next move, they begin to fear it. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the person who masters silence controls the room. That is power. But there is another law, perhaps even more dangerous. Because power is not only about what you say, it is also about what people believe about you. Before people hear your words, they have already decided who you are. And that is the danger of reputation. Law number 5. So much depends on reputation. Because sometimes your reputation enters the room before you do.